everybody, it's me, Mrs. Carter, and I wanted to show you a really cool project that I just made for you that I thought you might really enjoy. It's inspired by a famous artist named Andy Warhol, who is a pop artist. That means he was inspired by popular culture. So, Andy Warhol loved to make art about the world around him. And what did he eat every day for lunch? Campbell's soup. So he made a whole series of famous works of art where he would make all of his Campbell's soup. I'm going to give you a slideshow underneath the video on the website that shows you all about Andy Warhol's work as well. But today I want to show you how we're going to be inspired by him. So we're going to make our very own Campbell's soup, but mine's not Campbell's, mine's Carter's condensed art soup. And all I did was I used an empty can. Now, we've been baking a lot at our house, so Mr. Carter made some key lime pie. It was very good. And this is one of the cans from the condensed sweetened milk that he used. So it's kind of like a mini can. Regular cans are a little bit bigger. So I liked the mini can and we had a ton of them. So instead of recycling it, I upcycled it, which means I used it, but I kept its shape and form so you still know what it is and turned it into something new. Now, when you empty out the can, I recommend you use a used can so you're not wasting food. And I also recommend that you get help from your parents or family, because when I was doing this, there was a very sharp spot inside that I took a spoon and I pressed down so that it wouldn't hurt me. So be very, very careful. I don't want you cutting yourself on the edge of a can. So I need a can, I need a pencil, I don't have an eraser. Again, I searched my house for an eraser. It's like I don't own them or something. I found this. I can't find an eraser in my house. I hope you can find one. So I'm gonna use the end of this old eraser. I don't think it's gonna work very good, but I'm gonna try. If you have tape, you can use tape to seal the back of the can, or you can use glue, or you can use both, that works too. Depends on the look that you're going for. And a ruler is really helpful. Now, if you don't have a ruler, don't sweat it. I can also use the edge of a second piece of paper to make a straight line. So I made a few different soups. This is Carter's Oops soup, you know, my happy accidents. And this was an accident. I went to start it and I didn't have enough room for the word condensed. And then I thought, well, I gotta turn it into something and not waste the paper. So I thought, I'll turn it into Oops soup. Now, we don't cross things out, but I did on purpose because I thought it was funny when I made my Oops soup. I also made Carter's condensed crayon soup. Now, you can do the word Campbell's, or you can use your name or whatever you want. But when we're writing something out, that's font. That's what it's called. The text in a word is called a font. And the Campbell's logo, which you'll see when you look at the art below, is fancy. It's like cursive. So if it's not something that you are having, it's practice and it's really, really hard. Try your best. It doesn't have to be perfect. Every time I made the Carter's thing, it came out different, and that's okay. So the first thing I need to do is I need to get my can, because I don't know what size my paper is going to be. And then I'm going to measure it, or I'm going to put my paper right up to it to see how big it is. Now, I don't want to go this way because there's not enough room. I want to go the long way. I want to go across this way so I have plenty of room to wrap the can around. Now, once I measure out to my can how big it is, I'm going to draw a line straight across. Let me move you down with me so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, here I am, and here's my piece of paper. I've gone the long way. Remember, I want it to go all the way across. And my can was about 3 inches. So I can take a ruler and go from the top and measure 3 inches down. Or like I said, I'm going to show you what to do with another piece of paper. So let's pretend this is my piece of paper I found in my house that was a scrap. And I am going to take my pencil and I measured out my can on this piece of paper. So I know it needs to be about that wide. And I'm going to do it right on the edge, right here. And now I'm going to go to the top of my paper here and line that up and put a line. Do it again. put a line. So this is what I would do if I don't have a ruler. Now, if you have a ruler, you can do the same thing, but you can do 3 inches down, 3 inches down, and then you can just go right across, or you can use the edge of your paper. You decide what materials you have and what works best for you. So I'm going to go nice and slow and connect my lines and keep going across. Okay, so let me just make sure this fits my can. Yup, before I cut it. And now I'm ready to cut. So I'm going to just cut that right out. And now I have my long piece of paper. Now for my logo, it's gonna go in the middle of my can. So what I wanna make sure I do is I find the middle of my paper. So this is about the middle. It doesn't have to be perfect. And to make mine, I'm gonna pull out this one again. I want you to see I wrote the word condensed because we see in that label it says Campbell's condensed, and then his says tomato, or he made lots of them. I wrote crayon soup, and then I made a little logo. Now, I'm really excited to show you this part. Let's get drawing first, though. So, the first thing I want to do is I want to draw a circle in the middle. So there's my circle. I drew it nice and light. And then I'm going to take my ruler or my piece of paper, and I'm going to go across to make that line in the middle. And remember, if you make an accident, turn it into a happy accident. Maybe you want oops soup or happy accident soup. And I've already made a little error. I can erase. No big deal, right? And now I'm going to start the logo right here. So I'm going to write this in pencil. And you can do Campbell's. You could do Carter, but your last name probably isn't Carter. You could write your name. You can do anything you want, right? So I'm writing Carter, and I'm doing it in cursive, which I know cursive might feel hard. Try your best. You don't have to do cursive. You could do regular text, so it could just look like this. Right? It doesn't have to be cursive. And then I'm going to write the word condensed right underneath. Because soup, I guess, is condensed. All right, and now I'm going to put the kind of soup. What kind of soup do I want? I have an idea. I'm going to do heart soup. And maybe I want to draw a heart inside the label to reflect that I made heart soup. And now I'm going to go over my text with black crayon. Now, if you don't have crayons, you could use markers, but for this next step after, I'm going to show you how to turn marker into watercolor paint. So if you do markers over this, I wouldn't do marker as watercolor paint for this next part because the marker and the water are going to get mixed together and you might have to start over. You could also just color this whole thing in with regular markers. That's what I did with this one here. I went over it with marker and then I did crayon right on top and I filled this all in with just marker. Now the darker the marker, you can see, I can't see this writing very well. The lighter the marker, the better it came out so that I could see what I wrote. So be careful. Think about your color choice because you want light marker next to it so you can read it very clearly. So now I'm going to finish drawing out. And you know what? Happy accident. I want to erase this circle. I don't think I need a circle now that I have this cool heart. And I'm going to make my line go back right to the heart. Okay. And now I'm going to write the word heart. And I want to make sure that I take my time and I cover up any pencil lines so that I'm hiding them so you don't see them anymore. And in the Campbell soup, he had these little tiny stars that went, they're like little X's that went all the way across. You can do that too if you want. I'm gonna leave this line here for my marker. So my next step is now I'm gonna color it in. And watch what I do. I'm gonna outline that line. I'm gonna come over here, do that over here. And this is my favorite part. I'm only gonna color a little bit of the line. And the rest, I'm gonna turn this line of marker, this thick line of marker, into paint. All I need is a cup of water and a paintbrush. Watch. Ooh, so satisfying. And I'm just gonna pull that marker right over. See what happens with that crayon? It pops right through. That's called a crayon resist. Crayon has wax in it, just like a candle. And what happens when you put something like watercolor or this marker paint that I basically turned marker into paint, it still pops through, it resists it. It says, you can't cover me. So I'm gonna do that all the way across. I'm gonna pull the color up from there, that pigment, and I'm gonna come all the way up. Now I'm moving kind of fast because I want you to see all the steps, but take your time, slow down, right? We wanna have really good craftsmanship. And I'm gonna come over to this side and do the same thing. And as you can see, I'm filling up the whole top just like the Campbell soup can looks. And I can always go over this really slowly. I can drag it across to neaten out my lines. I can pull this pigment, this color, up higher. Looks pretty cool. All right, and I can leave it like that, or, I think I'm gonna take a crayon and just color the heart in. All right, and there's my condensed Carter's Heart soup. So now once this dries, I can then put it around my can. So I'm gonna take my Oop soup, because this one's nice and dry. I'm gonna get this one over to the side so it can dry. And I'm gonna center my can right on top. I'm gonna wrap it around my can. Make sure your can is clean too. And here's where tape would be good, because the tape is gonna stick better to the edge of the can. And I'm gonna go across. I wanna make sure this is flat and even before I seal. And I can come right here and do that again. All right, now I wanna tighten this out and smooth this out and go all the way across. This is a spot where I could put glue, or I could just put more tape. Now if I'm gonna use glue, I might wanna press it down and hold it and give it a minute. So for our video, you can use glue, but I'm gonna use tape so it's a little bit faster. And now I have a can that I could put anything in. I could put art materials in it. I could put markers in my condensed. And that's how I made my Campbell soup can, Carter's Art Soup instead, my Oop soup, my crayon soup. I gotta put my crayons back in here. Now I have a place for all my messy crayons that are lying around, even my broken ones. Remember, broken crayons still work. I'm gonna put them all into my new container for my table. And now I have something usable, functional, looks kind of cool. It's inspired by art history. Hopefully you have these materials at your home and you have so much fun making them. Post it, and when you post it, I'd love to see you pose with it. And I will see you next time. Bye.